beautiful collectors and action figure fans. It's the one and only Optibotimus coming to you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the support of my patron TJ, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Earthrise Voyager class Starscream. And if you want to help support my channel by becoming a patron like TJ, you can do so right now at patreon.com/Optibotimus. A monthly contribution of as little as $1 a month really can go a long way towards helping me out. Now, Starscream here has created a little bit of controversy. As part of the Earthrise line, he has his normal self, that being a regular Earth jet. But just in the Siege line, we got him in his Cybertronian Tetrajet mode. So the argument is, why did we even get that one if this was one we were always going to get, or vice versa? I don't know really if I'll be able to answer that question, other than Hasbro likes money. That's literally all I can think of. For the package, you do have that nice green sort of look. You got the Transformers text with the Generation logo. Obviously, part of the War for Cybertron trilogy, specifically the second part of that trilogy being Earthrise. Come to the side here, you got a gorgeous image of Starscream. He's in front of a computer screen where there's some like little characters floating around there. I can't see who those are, but he's a Voyager class, obviously. Opposite side has that image of the Ark crashing down to Earth, as well as a bunch of other characters, some of which we've already gotten. You got Unicron right there. On the top section here, you got Galvatron floating around. Really nice Decepticon logo come on the back of the package. And as I said, Starscream's in his good old jet mode. You can see that he transforms in 30 steps. And obviously you can use him with Battle Masters, these little things, whatever you have laying around. But obviously, those are all sold separately. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Starscream open up out of his packaging and obviously in his jet mode. And this is it. This is the Starscream that I have been waiting for since the early days of classics. That classic Starscream was just about perfect. I just always kind of felt like he should be bigger, and this scratches that itch for me. As you can see, much like all the jets, you do have basically the jet there and then robot stuff on the bottom. I mean, it's a very common problem. This is so much like that classic Starscream, though, that it blows my mind. You can see that he's kind of this dirtyish gray color, which looks good. You got the blue, you got the red Decepticon logos, the red little front sections here. You got a amber color cockpit, looks absolutely terrific. You got little thrusters here. I mean, yeah, you see what's going on there at the bottom. Even a little bit like right here, you can totally see that that's going to be his head. But I mean, I'm just so happy with him, honestly. I mean, could they have done a better job? Probably. Maybe I'm giving this guy a little bit of a pass because he is so much like that Classics one, which, I mean, for me and a lot of Transformer collectors, that was the gold standard for Starscream figures forever. I mean, that figure came out like, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that. And everything was always compared to that. I mean, even when they finally gave us the Tetrajet version, which here it is, obviously you can see, much smaller in terms of a vehicle mode. But even though this came out and I loved it enough that I sold every single one of my classic Seekers, Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp. Obviously, those were created with this, so I was like, I don't need those. I had no idea that they were going to be doing, you know, Earth versions of them, so it stands to reason that this is obviously going to be replaced in my collection with this guy. And then when Thundercracker and Skywarp versions of this comes out, it's inevitable. I mean, I didn't know that we were going to be getting this guy like immediately after this. So, I mean, that's kind of a surprise, but you gotta believe that they're going to do Thundercracker and Skywarp. Those are the ones I'm going to want that look like this. And then all the other ones that are Rainmakers can keep this mode because that's, again, how they looked in the cartoon. So I'm thrilled with it. Now, there is one minor issue that I do have with it, and that's this gaping hole right here. You can see it right at the bottom. You can see his little hand or forearms right there, and then that hole just goes all the way through. Now, a buddy of mine that turned me on to that 3D printed roller, if you remember, he worked with the same guy to create some pieces that can actually fill that in. Now, this is the little middle section that's going to go inside here. I'll show you when I'm transforming it, but it's going to go kind of like inside there, cover that gap, and then there's a whole bunch of little additional weapons that you can plug into. So you can have that be on the bottom side, so you can see it's like a little, I don't even know how you would describe it. It's a little, some type of blaster looking thing, but that stays in there permanently. I'll show you when I'm transforming them back to jet mode, so make sure you stay tuned for that portion of the video, but just kind of giving you an idea. So you have that, which covers that in. You have another one, look like a Gatling gun that you can plug underneath there, gives him more options. Another little cannon dealie, you can put that there if you want, just pegs in very nicely, so you get 3 of those options. Or if you don't want guns sticking out, here's a smaller section, just like little missiles. You can put that right there as well. Now obviously it sits more in, and I'll show it off later on, so you can that as an option. Or if you want just like a little air intake, kind of matches along with the grooves and everything that you see on here, that's a nice option. Or one of my favorites, honestly, is this one, which is a Decepticon logo. There's a little bit of a flash on there. This is all 3D printed stuff that you can print yourself. If you have a 3D printer, it's all free for you to print. The file is available. You can tip the creator, and again, I'm going to put links down there so you can do that if you want to. Let me get that in there. But you can have that, which has the Decepticon logo there. I love that. But all of this I'll show you here in a bit in greater detail when I'm transforming it back on how to attach it in there. But that fills that gap in very, very nicely. And again, shout out to you, Ryan, for helping make me aware of this. Absolutely love it. Now, to transform him into his robot mode, first we're going to remove the guns. Obviously, he comes with his standard null rays. They are a little bit different looking than the ones that came with the Tetra Jet. Obviously, these are a little bit more Starscream-ish. These have that Cybertronian look, but still same color and all that kind of stuff, so still really nice. Then come to these wings. Kind of want to pull from there, and don't pull too much because it actually separates it. So do that, and then rotate that up like that. Kind of pull, rotate that up, just like so. Come around here, take this front section, fold that forward, and then these legs are going to separate like that. And then come around to the back and wiggle this, and you separate that from the back section, extend those all the way down. You can split this, and then you want to make sure that you line up this little post with the little rectangular section right there. So bring that up and get that in position. There we go. Locks that leg into place very nicely. Do that on this side as well. Take these feet, can fold these out just like so. Take this, collapse that on both sides, and then lift this, kind of pull it away from the body. You can see that it bends the ankle, and then just rotate that around and then push that back up there. So again, kind of bend that, rotate it, push it right back there, and here you have the lower leg section done. You can take that, put that back down like that. Now this part does get a little bit tricky. There's some little hooks on here that I feel it's easier to kind of like push from this side and then take your hand and kind of pull that away. It's definitely a little bit tricky there, but you need to get that to separate. There we go. I'll just do that side because that was a little bit easier. And then pull that away like that. So now you're going to extend that down like that. Take these, rotate these bits out. You can straighten out the hands. No, let's see. This part here. Now let's just get that out of the way for right now. Then take the nose cone section. You detach that. You're going to rotate that around. Bring that all the way down into the cavity. That's going to obviously create his chest. Take this section, rotate that back, and then you can bring this up. Kind of position these little panels along the side to make sure everything lines up. Give that a good little squeeze, locking that into place there. So now we're going to bring this down and then hinge that all the way out like that. Lock that in, put the hand down. Do that on this side as well. There we go, bring that. Extend that. And again, you want to lock these tabs in here so it's sturdy, just like that. Fold that down, pull that down. Bring this, make sure that stays all the way back. Now these wings, you can position these how you want. They can be straight on like that, or you can angle them back a little bit. It feels like there's a actual ratchet point right there that when you rotate it, it kind of fits there. So I feel like that's where it's meant to be, but you don't have to do it like that. But when you're done, there you have Starscream in his amazing looking robot mode. And then of course, to complete the look, you're going to take his null rays, come around to the side, plug them into his arms. And there you have Lord Starscream looking absolutely incredible. It really does make me wish that I still had those classic figures to compare it to, because as you can see, there are a lot of elements about him that are similar. The way the arms kind of fold in and take that area of the chest, how the chest folds forward, how the chest piece here kind of swivels back. You got this whole piece here, which that hung on there. Even the legs are very similar. I mean, it's like taking that classic one, upscaling him, and honestly, just giving him the treatment that he deserved. The deluxe size was always too small, if you ask me. I don't know. I mean, it was always a perfect figure other than that. Now for the size comparisons. Here he is, and here is the Siege one. And where you can see that he was a much bigger jet than the Siege one. Robot mode wise here, they're just about the same. The Tetrajet version is a little bit taller, but I still think that it works pretty good. I wonder if you can actually swap these, because yeah, those fit in there. I mean, I like that look a little bit more. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, as much as I like this, there's no question that I'm going to replace him now with this, as well as Thundercracker and Skywarp. Because as I said, you gotta believe that they're going to come out with those characters in this mold. Now, I'm not going to sell them right away. This one's already gone. But just in case we don't get Thundercracker and Skywarp, you know, I'll still have them. And then for another comparison, here he is with Megatron, and this works beautifully. I mean, the other Starscream came up to like here. I mean, that was way too small for me. I mean, this works so much better. I absolutely love the size of this. One thing that I don't think I've really touched on this is that, like, ugly dirt color, like he had, well, not really dirt, just the wear, whatever that kind of scuffed up paint was. The Earthrise stuff don't really have that, which I appreciate. It looks a lot better on here. Now, you can see, like I said, the overall color scheme is what you would expect for Starscream. Let's put his other null ray back on there. That looks really good. I do like how you can articulate these wings, so if you did want to have them flat like that, that looks good. Or if you want to give them some dynamic flair, I mean, you go like that if you really wanted to. But giving him a little bit of angle to it really does help things out. I mean, this is there. I don't know if I'm really bothered by it because I was so used to it with the Classics one. But I mean, at least having the wings like that kind of angled back kind of hides out a little bit. So it's not bad. Articulation-wise, the head is on a ball joint. You get a nice range of motion. Gorgeous head sculpt there. Kind of have a little bit of metallic red paint in there for the eyes. Nice silver for the face. Obviously, you have that very Starscream-looking head. The shoulders here are on swivels, and they got hinges going outward. Can rotate at the upper part of the bicep, bend here at the elbow. You do have, I guess you could kind of say wrist articulation. It just kind of goes up like that. Now, does he rotate? No, I was afraid of that. Yeah, no waist rotation, just the way that everything is designed. He might be the first one to not really have waist articulation. I'm trying to think if any other like Earthrise figures didn't. Oh well, I mean, it's not that bad. It's not a deal breaker. He does swivel here at the upper part of the thigh. You do have a really nice bend at the knee, ankles. Kind of you can move things around because the feet are individually articulated, so you can kind of move that. But you do have the really nice ankle tilt, so you can get a nice wide dynamic pose with him, looking very Starscream-ish. I mean, that does look cool. Overall, an absolute win. This guy, like I said, I don't know if it just some of it is the nostalgia of that classic one coming through and being large. You know, one thing that's interesting, I don't really touch on this, but you got like these little notches right here that you would think that like something would come out and lock in there, but nothing does. So I wonder if that's something that'll come out with a future figure, because it's on both sides and it doesn't serve a purpose on there. So who knows? It is what it is. But absolutely gorgeous figure. This guy is a must-have. Absolute must-have. I mean, I don't know if they gave us this. I was talking about earlier, you know, that they just like money. Maybe they decided to do the Tetrajet and then say, hey, we can take those and make Starscream in them all Tetrajets as well. I know we're going to come out with the Earthrise figures, and they're going to have the Earth mode, but if we want to do the Tetrajets, let's do them in the classic characters. So maybe that was always their intention. Maybe Starscream was like an afterthought sort of thing. Who knows? Either way, I'm glad that we have both of them because, like I said, I love the Raymakers and having those Cybertronian Seekers in that Tetrajet mode, and then having the Earth ones have this. So I'm okay with both. Now, to go back to his robot mode, we're going to open this up just like that. Come down to the hands. I'm going to lift these and then hinge this all the way back and down. And it does get a little bit tricky because you have to get everything properly like collapsed here. So come on, there we go. And what's happening? Get that pushed down. This thing always gives me a bit of a migraine, this little bit, because I know why, because you have to make sure that that little piece right there has to go in to this whole area. So when you slide this in, it's going to come out through the bottom there. So I always forget that. So collapse that all the way down and then leave the hand up like that. So again, do it on this side. Get the hand out of the way, open this up. When you have the hand out of the way, you can make sure that that little piece comes out through the bottom just like that. Collapse that whole thing down just like that. We're going to play with that here in a little bit. Now, keep that rotated around. Now again, this part can get a little bit tricky. Just kind of have to pull one side out and away from the body. Then you can bring this whole section back. Take the head, kind of straighten that up as much as possible. Bring this back section up and over, locking that down, and then fold this up and out and rotate while you're doing it, and then bring it around and slot it in there just like so. Then you take these and you're going to bring these bits in. Now this is the part where I was going to show you this piece. My friend Ryan designed this particular piece, which is what attaches all these extra little bits. So what you want to do is you have these little posts here. You're going to bring this in and have him hold it on the inside here. You got the bottom of his fist. You got to just peg that in there. Now, well, let's see. Let's take this out. Get that in, and you just sandwich it between his two fists, and then squeeze it together. Hopefully I got that. No, I don't think I did. Yeah, I got that one side. Squeeze that in, and then line that up. It's a little bit tricky to see. There we go. Just squeeze the two halves together like that, and then bring this piece back down and that locks in. So now you can see how it fills in this gap very nicely and fills in that whole section right there, where, like I said, you can take these and you can plug all these different pieces in here, which are great. I love having that. I mean, honestly, I don't display my figures in the vehicle modes for the most part, but here's the little rocket launchers. If you don't want it sticking out that far, you have a small one like that, which looks good. You have the Decepticon logo one, which I just think that that's fun. Get that in there. That looks cool. That one gets in there really tight. And then the last one are just these little regular vents, which I think look really good as well, because like I said, it kind of matches the little vents on the side here. So I'm going to leave that one in. I feel like that's a little bit more neutral looking, but I love how it fills that area in. The color is a little bit darker than the red on here, but I mean, that's, you know, neither here nor there. I mean, I suppose it just depends on the color material you get to do it, so I can't complain too much because he did it for me. So shut up, Paul. The back feet here, we're going to bring those up and then tab that in, fold that out, bring that around, tab that in. That will automatically bring these heels down, and then take that, lift that up, fold these down. Oh, you can, before you do that, you can attach the two and then fold these bits down. Then you want to hinge this up, give this a good squeeze, locking that in, fold this piece out, and then bring these all the way up, put that down just like that. And then take these, straighten out the wings, and then fold them down. Now you have a little section right here that has a little notch, and then you have a little groove section up here. So you kind of have to, that's what I was saying before, kind of have to pull it away to get that to line up, and then get that to line up, and then give that a nice little squeeze, straighten that, rotate that around, kind of pull that away a little bit there, pull that away a little bit, and then line that up. And when you have it lined up, it does, you see a little bit of a gap right there. There we go. See, that gap is now gone. And again, I mean, that just makes that look so much better, doesn't it? I love that. I think that's great. But when you're done, there you have Starscream back in his jet mode. Again, another terrific figure by Hasbro. There's not a lot nowadays that I don't like. It seems the exact opposite, that they continuously keep impressing me. And Starscream here nails it. Vehicle mode wise, he looks great. Yes, there is undercarriage, which is true of every single jet transformer in existence, but it's not bad. It cleans up fairly decently, to be totally honest. You do have the giant gaping holes that are there, but as you can see, there are solutions for that. If you'd like to pick this up, like I said, you can 3D print it for free if you have a 3D printer. I'll put a link right down in the video description where you can go to the website to be able to download these yourselves. Maybe you have a friend that has a 3D printer that can do it for you. Either way, that really does fix that. I think it's fantastic. So again, shout out to my friend Ryan and the person that he worked with to bring these to us. Transformation on the guy is fairly simple, but it is very much like that classic toy, which, as I talked about, the classic representation of Starscream was always pretty much the gold standard. That transformation never got dull doing. And what they did was they took it and updated it with some new tricks while still maintaining kind of that original sort of feel. So if you transform that classic one, you kind of know how this one's going to work. But there's some added stuff to it, which makes it fun as well. And that robot mode, again, absolutely beautiful. The Siege Starscream was so much fun. I was absolutely thrilled to finally get a Tetrajet version of him, although we never saw Starscream as a Tetrajet. It was still a nice figure to have. But at the end of the day, this was always the one that I wanted to have. And Hasbro knocked it out of the park. So all that being said, if this version of Starscream is a figure that you would like to add to your collection, he is hitting various retail locations right now. So if you're looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can go online at places such as Big Bad Toy Store. For that, I'll put a link right down in the video description where you can go to BBTS and check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you would do one small thing for me, and that's simply just to hit that thumbs up button. That one very small gesture really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. Again, I want to send a huge shout out to my patron TJ for helping to make this review possible. And if you'd like information on how you can help support my channel like TJ, feel free to check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/optibotimus. And finally, remember, the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.